As a former lifelong Apple user, it's been nearly a month since I boxed my iPhone 16 Pro and fully committed to making the honest switch to the Samsung S25 Ultra. And throughout my continued experience, there's a lot to unpack. But with a fully charged battery, an early flight to catch, and a busy day, welcome to a day in my life. Now with this day in the life series, if you're new to this, I always drain the battery till 0 before I charge. And I'm already assuming that I'm gonna have to recharge this maybe even 2 times, considering that I'm starting my day like 5 hours more earlier than what is normal for me. Battery life for me is always at the top priority when it comes to a new phone. I always feel the on-paper specs tend to be very misleading, and there's lots of tests that you can watch, but my favorite type of test is a true real-world test. The second thing I'll be testing is the camera, and that will have effect on the overall battery life, as shooting in 8K and even log video will significantly drain the overall battery health. I'll be taking all sorts of different pictures, really pushing the camera, just like the battery, to its absolute limits. And the last thing we'll be testing to complete the 3-step process is any new features, which in this case are all the new AI. How practical is it? How useful is it? And do I actually use it on a day-to-day basis? Today's business trip is in partnership with TikTok, which is kind of funny because my previous day in the life with the iPhone 16 Pro was to New York City, also for TikTok. Today I'll be flying from North Carolina to LA, so this is on the complete opposite side of the United States. To give you some context, it's for a TikTok Shop live event where I'll be showcasing products for a long duration of time, just selling them on my personal account. So I'm basically going to this big studio where they already have cameras and everything's preset, so I don't have to set it up. They give me a product list, I go through it and pretty much just sell personal tech that I recommend at a crazy discount. Today I have to communicate with both my manager and who's actually directing it, because I'm almost certain I have a rehearsal later today. Before y'all spam the comments asking what phone case this is just a simple clear case with MagSafe from ESR. It's about 15 bucks on Amazon, and I'll link it in the description. Now today's flight took off at 6:05 a.m. and after boarding the plane and getting situated, I was already so tired that I ended up only really being on my phone for about 3 hours and ended up sleeping the other 3. It was roughly a 6-hour flight, and I landed just around 9 a.m. in LA. After I got off the plane, I went to go grab my bags, get on a bus, head over to rideshare, and grab my Uber to my hotel. And overall, for things like scanning boarding passes, getting Ubers, and all the necessary things that come with traveling, the phone handled everything very well. After a 40-minute Uber and a little bit of convincing to get an early check-in, I had to wait 30 minutes, which gave me a good time to reflect on the phone's performance and where we were currently sitting. Okay, thank you so much. Of course. To give you a bit of an update on the phone, we are currently sitting at 5% battery, which is significantly lower than what I would expect, but when you think about the timing of the day, it kind of makes sense. I obviously started my day at 3 a.m. and in my mind it's like 1:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So when I look at it like that, it's really not as disappointing as I initially thought it was, but for obvious reasons I need this to get into places, Ubering, taking pictures, things of that nature, so I will be recharging this phone. Oh wow, this is nice. Now flipping the camera around, we're shooting in 4K 60, so let's get a quick room tour. Over here we have a little desk. Yo, peep the water. Is this good or not? I feel like I've heard of that name. I feel like that's good water. Got a little chair over here. They did upgrade my room because the first room I was in, there was a dude in it, and I was trying to like get in, and it was kind of awkward. This is cool. I've never seen this before. This is like a reading light. That's cool. And then they gave me a king size bed, which is awesome. I'll freaking take that. And the natural light in this room is super, super nice. You get some big doors in here that definitely let in a lot of light. And then as you can see, relatively nice view. Let's check out the zoom. So this is 1x, 2x, 3x, 5, 10, and then we'll do 20. So that is honestly very impressive. It does get a bit shaky, but that's to be expected. I really am a fan of all this natural light. And over here we just have standard TV, and then we have the bed. We got a mirror right here, and then let's see. Turn on the bathroom light. Ooh, this is nice. I like this. Super clean shower. So far, I'd give this hotel a solid, what are we thinking, 7.5 out of 10? Now though, I'm gonna shower because I feel nasty from traveling. I don't know about you, but I always have to shower after I travel. Here's one really nice thing I love about the S25 Ultra coming from an iPhone. But it tells me how long I have till I get a full battery. And after charging it so regularly, I know what's good charging time and what's bad charging time. But the other day I was using one of my older wireless chargers and it said it would take 5.5 hours to fully charge, and it was currently at 40%. Apple, please take notes, incorporate that in an iOS update, whatever. It's so nice to have. The weather here is so nice, but I have absolutely no idea where I'm going. Like, I'm trying to find this Uber pickup spot. I am so lost. Was it Jaden? Awesome. I honestly hope the lighting is good. I cannot see my viewfinder at all, but we're just gonna go with it. One of the things that just came to mind about this phone that I love in a time like this, where it is extremely bright outside, is the extra brightness feature. I've seen people say, oh, it's completely useless, it drains your battery. And while yes, it might drain your battery just a little bit, for times like this, you absolutely need it. It's imperative. You cannot do anything on your phone without it. I keep it off unless I absolutely need it, like in times like this, and it's just as simple as pressing and holding and turning it on, and boom, you're all good to go. I'm currently blindly eyeballing all my camera settings, and I was just thinking, like, imagine I had an extra brightness feature on my Sony viewfinder. Like, oh my goodness, that'd be amazing, which correlates to the phone being able to shoot in super bright times like this, both picture and video. With that extra brightness, allows you to dial in your settings, especially if you're shooting in something like log video. You can perfectly adjust your shutter speed, ISO, white balance, all those nerdy types of things. I've talked about this before, but the overall display in the S25 Ultra is just miles better than the iPhone. It's bright, crisp, clear, super vibrant. I just love it. I have no complaints. So if you've been debating on the S25 Ultra, I think this is a really key selling point, where if you're somebody that uses your phone outside a lot in bright conditions where you need that display, you might want to really consider that. I live in North Carolina and it's currently freezing and snowing. And then I'm in Santa Monica, California. It's like 60 degrees and I'm on the beach. What is life? All right, this is the front-facing footage from the S25 Ultra. One of the new features that they added with this phone was the introduction to log video, which I was so excited about when I watched this event. Essentially what log video is a very flat picture profile. It strips the colors from everything and gives you a kind of a plain start to color grade from. So for filmmakers, content creators, I know a lot of people were very, very excited to hear about this change. I do have to say, the zoom that you get on the back-facing camera is just mind-boggling. Like, this is crazy impressive. The fact that I can just click a button, zoom in like crazy. I mean, 100x on pictures is a little ridiculous. I don't really find myself utilizing it a whole ton, but it is definitely a very cool feature just to have on hand. I do have to make my way over to TikTok in probably 20-ish minutes. I made a questions on my Instagram for you guys to just literally ask anything, and a lot of questions ended up popping up. What was the hardest thing to give up switching from an iPhone to an Android? Easily FaceTime. Having an iPhone user send you the link and then it just being up on your browser was a little awkward. And also trying to get people to understand and use Google Meet was super awkward as well. Do you see yourself making the long-term switch? No. If I was committed to a Windows laptop, a Samsung tablet, a Samsung watch, maybe, but I'm already so deep into the Apple ecosystem with a MacBook, iPad, AirPods, and iPhone, it just doesn't really make any sense to me. One thing that instantly stood out to you when you made the switch, easily the display. Do you actually find yourself using the S Pen? A little bit. It kind of reminds me of the camera control button. Like, it's cool when you think about it. How does One UI 7 compare to iOS 18? One UI 7 is really nice, and as a beginner, it was super easy to kind of pick up on if you have a general sense of what you're doing. I'm already in the Google ecosystem with Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, things of that nature. iOS is definitely smoother and way more optimized. I know you use AirDrop a lot. What has been your alternative? Everyone would say to use QuickShare. I've literally just found myself kind of going back to Google Drive for the time being. Do you wish there was a smaller version? Yes, I was literally just about to talk about this. Big complaint I have is I have small hands, and I've always preferred the Pro model, meaning the smaller display. I see this as being the higher end and they want to keep it exclusive. I 100% understand that. I do wish there was a Pro model or like a smaller version of the Ultra. I'll continue this later, but I need to pack my stuff and catch me an Uber. For Jaden, it is currently 4:31 in the afternoon. I just got back from the rehearsal event. Everything went super smoothly, got very familiar, comfortable with what's gonna be happening, which is the actual main event tomorrow. So I think I'm gonna go back to the beach, walk the opposite direction that I didn't go, and try to catch the sunset, and then go into downtown LA to get some nighttime footage and nighttime photography as well. So that's the plan. Fancy. You have a good night. It is currently 5:30. I'm just enjoying myself on the beach all by myself. This might be the most peaceful thing I've ever done. I never realized how much this has been very enjoyable. I think I needed this a lot more than I thought. I can't remember if I addressed this, but this is also my first time in LA, so I've had a blast just exploring the city. Let's talk about Galaxy's AI. This was heavily pushed at Galaxy Unpacked. So first off, you get what's called briefs, and I'm actually a huge fan of this. It'll typically give you one in the morning, mid-morning, afternoon, evening, and night. It pretty much just summarizes any events that you have either upcoming, the current temperature, any news events. It's a little over descriptive of the news events, but overall, it's kind of cool. It helps just consolidate what I know I have going on for the next day. I tend to plan everything in my Notion or my Google Calendar. And so when I wake up in the morning and I check my phone, I like how it gives me an update of like, okay, I have to join that call later in this afternoon. And then it has my overall to-do list, as I typically, if I don't write down my to-do list, I put it in my phone if I know I'm gonna be out and about. So I am a huge fan of this feature. Galaxy's AI is miles ahead of Apple Intelligence. It blew my mind just testing it, like covering my face and then tracing over it with the object eraser. It pretty accurately, besides making me look like an absolute marshmallow, I thought it did a very, very good job what it would look like without my hand in front of it. And other things such as cutting out background noise is extremely accurate for the most part. Depending on the type of situation you're in, I found that 9 times out of 10 it does a very, very good job. Then we have Gemini. Personally, I think Gemini feels a lot more natural, but I do feel that Apple Intelligence's ChatGPT integration is more accurate and precise, but I do prefer Gemini because I don't like how it's like, would you like me to use ChatGPT? Gemini just, you ask it something and it straight up gives you an answer. For general things, I think Gemini is better. For more specific descriptive things, I think Apple Intelligence is better. Overall, I love the direction that Samsung is taking with their AI. It's obviously the future, whether we like it or not, and I'm pretty happy with it. Overall, I felt that all the pictures were well balanced when shooting in 12 megapixels, 50 megapixels, and even 200 megapixels. However, there were natural moments where the sun would be casting a shadow and the camera struggled to identify what was happening, which resulted in the image looking significantly darker than what it actually looked like. That said, I thought it captured a well-rounded balance of colors. Nothing felt too cool, warm, or even oversaturated, especially the ones I got of the sunset. Zooming in, the fact that there wasn't much noise or grain really impressed me. Now, low-light photos were pretty much what I expected. I felt that the camera was able to capture the general details very well, but struggled with lights, sometimes resulting in overexposed shots. But to be honest, I feel like no smartphone has really mastered that yet, so I wasn't really concerned. And unless you're overcritically analyzing these small imperfections, none of what I just mentioned will likely bother you. Look, as a lifelong Apple user / Apple fanboy, after making the heartbreaking switch, I asked myself one simple question. With an open mind, Can I be convinced? Short answer, yes. The phone is fast, powerful, and very capable of handling anything you throw at it. And I now see why so many people love this phone. I mean, it really is that good. As for the overall Switch, besides some annoying bugs, different animations, and the green text bubble, if you're on the edge about actually making the Switch, I think there's no better time to do it. However, if you're already on the S24 Ultra, I don't think there is that much of an actual difference that I could justify making the upgrade. To close things out, not only was this a fun trip, but a fun experience using nothing but the S25 Ultra. If you enjoyed today's video, drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment with your thoughts and opinions. And as always, I'll catch y'all in the next one.